really want to love this game. Psuedoregalia hits some of the highest notes when it's achieving on what it set out to do, but it just can't fully pick up the pieces around it. This 3D platformer by way of Metroidvania has a detailed movement system that, in true form to the genre, unlocks slowly over the course of the game. Each time you find an upgrade that expands your moveset, it feels fucking amazing. The sense of momentum and the flow state that you can find yourself in while traversing in Psuedoregalia is easily among the best. Everything feels just a little faster than normal in the best way possible, creating this beautiful ebb and flow of getting around terrain and obstacles, perfectly keeping up the rhythm of movement and blowing past all the chaff with speedy abilities will keep you playing this game and wanting to know what your next toy to get is. The game is keen on this and features loads of traversal rooms to get around, really never feeling stale with ideas or repeating itself too much. So many of these systems are designed to a T. Once you start stacking abilities, you feel like this game was made for sickos. Maybe the wall kick is a little wonky, seeing how it's this like faux double jump that can adjust your momentum and is active for a while, during which it will wall kick when it hits something. But once you understand its power, it becomes crazy. The movement system is so absurd that I honestly believe I was able to tackle obstacles that were beyond my ability level through sheer grit of abusing the system. Most games feel like they have these safeguards in place that make sure you don't break the game, and Psuedoregalia has them too on occasion, but not enough of them to stop you from feeling like a superhero. You begin to feel unstoppable because with enough skill and thinking, you believe you can traverse nearly everything. Sadly, the combat does not match the similar highs as the movement. It works, but it feels floaty and lacks any sort of impact when striking enemies. It's not horrendous, but it feels ungraceful in a game that is otherwise defined by the feeling of grace. The more you strike enemies, the more your magic level raises, which allows you to drain it to heal or increase the range on your attacks while at a higher level. The healing aspect of this works perfectly. You feel the trade-off of healing because having your maximum rage is such a boon to combat. This incentivizes healing at proper times and not throwing away a heal on a half hit of damage or something. The downside is that the range increase feels vital. At your default range, you feel really stubby and it leads to occasionally feeling lost in a combat encounter. Both your hit detection and the enemy's hit detection can sometimes just not be there in confusing manners. Furthermore, for bigger lumbering enemies, the animation style kinda works against the game. Tracking their movements and ranges feels harder to parse than it should, especially when they snap to facing a new position instead of fluidly making their movements known. Thankfully, combat isn't the biggest part of the game, but every time you have to engage with it, you can tell it kinda doesn't have the same feeling that movement does. If there is one flaw to Psuedoregalia that feels like a critical whiff, it is the lack of a map. With this being designed in the vein of Metroidvania, there is a lot of backtracking to explore with your new abilities. While the game's low poly art style plays well and gives off a vibe that complements a lot of the game, it hampers traversal. When so many rooms are all given the same flat texturing, it becomes very difficult to map out where a place is within the grander scheme of the area. There's a couple of times where I knew where I wanted to go, but I couldn't remember where the dick that place actually was. This leads to a lot of backtracking just to reacclimate yourself, because zones don't really stick out enough to differentiate themselves from the pack, and there are a lot of rooms in this game. This becomes doubly problematic when you start cracking out with the movement system. There were legitimately times where I got into a shortcut I wasn't supposed to be at, was able to do everything backwards, which the game really wasn't accounting for, and then find myself at some common area, traversing a lot and gaining nothing. It's these moments that feel the most deflating, doing all the tribulations the game puts in front of you and getting something that doesn't really lead you down a new path. You can so easily become frustrated by the open-ended world because there's so little direction towards where you should be going. Thus, you just backtrack the game over again and over again and over again until something new turns up. Psuedoregalia is not a long game, but it might feel like one. It took me less than 5 hours, but if you are not the type of person to crack out on movement tech, and especially if you are not the type of person who can draw a good mental map, it will take longer. That said, if you want to go fast and feel the power of solving traversal however you see fit, this game is absolutely for that type of sicko behavior.